Testimony continues in two key trials where families of school shooting victims are taking the stand. In Florida, loved ones of the victims killed in the 2018 shooting at Parkland High School describing their sorrow to jurors who will decide the gunman's fate. And in Texas, parents of children murdered in the 2012 Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting testifying that right-wing conspiracy theorist Alex Jones has tortured them for years.
There's records of Jesse's birth, of me. I mean, I have a history, and there's nothing that you could have found because it doesn't exist, that I'm deep state. It's just not true. I know you know that. That's the problem. I know you know that. And you keep saying it. You keep saying it. Why? Why? For money?
When it's stated that Jesse's was fake, that is an indication that he didn't exist and he didn't live. He did live. I was blessed with him for 6.5 years.
Joining us now is CNN anchor and national correspondent Erica Hill. Erica, it's still, when you hear a father say, I was blessed to have him for 6.5 years, it just guts you every time. And what's at stake in these trials isn't obviously, there's no way to bring those children back, but the fact that the lies and the monetizing of lies and misinformation has compounded the family's pain. Right.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, and I just want to get your sense of what happened yesterday, and then I want you to respond to a judge really calling out his persistent pattern of lying.
So in terms of that, and I think we do have that sound if we want to play it from the judge, to your point, and I'll get to that in just 1 second, but to your point of what these trials are about, as we heard from Scarlett Lewis, who's Jesse Lewis's mom, who was on the stand yesterday and spoke directly to Alex Jones, right? She said she wanted to speak directly to him. What she said is, we've asked you to stop lying. We have asked you, we've implored you, and you haven't. And you continue to repeat, obviously I'm paraphrasing here, but you continue to repeat these lies. And so we're hoping that maybe by having a large financial judgment, maybe that'll finally compel you to stop telling these lies. So that's how we got to this point, right, where we're hearing this testimony. But you're right, it wasn't just Scarlett Lewis who was calling out Alex Jones. It was the judge as well, and I think we have that sound.
It seems absurd to instruct you again that you must tell the truth while you testify, yet here I am. You must tell the truth while you testify. This is not your show.
And an interesting note there on her saying this is not your show. The testimony that we heard yesterday was from Jesse Lewis's parents. So they both testified, but separately. In the morning, his father, Neil Heslin, was speaking, and the attorney played part of Alex Jones. Alex Jones wasn't in court in the morning. He didn't show up until after lunch, but played part of his show during that testimony, just saying, look, they're here testifying. He's doing this. And when Scarlett Lewis had the opportunity after lunch to speak directly to him, one of the things she said to him is, she said, I'm real. My child was real. I gave birth. There are records to all of this. And she said, I want you to stop doing it to him. And she directly said to him, you're going to do this again. And he shook his head no. And she said, but you just did it this morning. You just did it today.
When she's talking about the pain of having a child shot in the forehead, and then the pain compounded by someone saying it's a hoax, it's unbelievable to hear her have to say that. Yeah. You just can't get away from this stuff because the Parkland shooters trial is continuing today, and we heard tearful testimony from grieving parents. This is some of it.
I still look over at the passenger seat and reach over and pretend I'm touching his cheek or putting my hand on his shoulder.
Our hearts will forever be broken. We will always live with excruciating pain.
She was supposed to get married, and I was gonna have my father-daughter dance.
The jury here is deciding if he gets the death penalty or if he gets life.
Right. So this is the third week of the penalty phase here, and the jury will decide. They have to be unanimous. though, in that decision. Then they'll make the recommendation to the judge, up to the judge, whether or not he wants to follow up. The prosecution is asking for the death penalty. Defense wants life without parole. These moments, though, while the gunman who pleaded guilty, right, did not show any visible emotion in court, a defense attorney and at least 2 jurors were seen wiping away tears as these parents talked about the lives that their children had led and the lives that they would not be able to lead.
Defense attorney.
Yeah. How can you not? How can you not? If you have children, the pain these families have gone through, the thought of losing a child that way shakes you to your heart and soul.
Yeah. I mean, yes, we're all parents, and it utterly guts you as a parent. But you look at this and you listen to these moments. If you are not impacted by that, I have to say, personally, it just raises questions, right?
The pain of listening to it, and then you think of the pain of living it.
Every day.
You know?
Unimaginable. Erica, thank you very much.